Transformers fan since I was a kid. I still remember the original 1985 cartoon of this. So of course I had to go and see the film and get the DVD. Now this DVD comes with a sleeve to it. Inside you have a picture of Optimus Prime there. Of course the main character's Shia LaBeouf there. And on the other side you've got again Shia LaBeouf's main character there. With the energy cube up there. I can never remember what it's called, but I'm sure somebody will correct me. So essentially, that is the first of the DVD collection there. So basically, if you like big robots, large explosions and that sort of thing, then definitely one for you. I'll read a little bit on the back about it. From director Michael Bay and executive producer Steven Spielberg comes a thrilling battle between the Autobots and the Decepticons. When their epic struggle comes to the Earth, all that stands between the evil Decepticons and the ultimate power is a clue held by Sam Witwicky, Shia LaBeouf. Join the fight for mankind in the extraordinary adventures that is this summer's coolest film, FHM. So that's the first film. Next up, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So again, this one is in a cardboard sleeve there. Pop that down there. You can see pretty much the same images on the inside. Again, it's our old mate Shia LaBeouf. He just seems to appear in a lot of these films. It's not that I'm a particular fan of the guy, but he just happens to turn up in these films. And of course, Harrison Ford. Now this one is the fourth in the Indiana Jones series, I believe, with Harrison Ford reprising his role after some time. I shall read the back again on this one. And it says, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas bring you the greatest adventurer of all time in an action-packed comedy that's packed with adrenaline-surging entertainment. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull finds Indy, Harrison Ford, trying to outrace a brilliant and beautiful agent, Kate Blanchett, for the mystical, all-powerful Crystal Skull of Akator, teaming up with a rebellious young biker, Shia LaBeouf, and his spirited original love, Marion Karen Allen. Indy takes you on an action-packed adventure in the exciting tradition of the classical Indiana Jones movie. And let's face it, the Indiana Jones theme tune is probably one of the best theme tunes, along with Star Wars, of any film, I guess. So that's the second one that I picked out of the collection. Now the next one's a little bit different from the first two, because it features this guy. Yes, the Simpsons movie. Now, I've been a Simpsons fan for a very long time now. Of course, when they brought the movie out, I think I've seen this movie 3 or 4 times at the cinema. It came out with various friends, but had to be done really. So there's our old mate Homer with his donuts. Donuts must eat. Obviously it's a little bit difficult to do a Homer Simpson impression when you're whispering. So actually that's Maggie. Marge, there's Lisa, and Spider Pig, or Harry Plopper, as he's also known in the film. Now I shall read the back of this. The Simpsons movie has truly become a worldwide phenomenon, emerging as one of the best international blockbusters in movie history. In this hilarious smash hit, Homer must save Marge, Bart, Lisa, Maggie, and the entire planet from a catastrophe he created for himself, or he himself created, So it features all the usual voices, all the characters, and I suspect most of you have probably seen it anyway, so there you go. Now this next one is based upon the books of one of my favourite writers, Clive Cussler, and it is called Sahara, and it stars Matthew McConaughey, Penelope Cruz, and Steve Zahn, or Zahn I think, I'm not sure. Now essentially this is basically based on the adventures of Dirk Pitt, which is a book series by Clive Cussler. You may have seen that in one of my other rambles about Clive Cussler's books. Essentially this is a sort of just jam-packed, little bit silly action adventure. There's some pretty wild ideas that happen in it, you know. I think that involves finding a Confederate warship in the middle of the desert, and then battling against some bad guys over nuclear radiation. So I shall read the little back here. There is a legend of a treasure that claims all who seek it. Scouring the ocean depths for treasure-laden shipwrecks is business as usual for thrill-seeking underwater adventurer Matthew McConaughey and his wise, cracking buddy Steve Zahn. But when these two cross paths with a beautiful doctor, Penelope Cruz, they find themselves on the ultimate treasure hunt. Soon the three are for the ride of their lives as they cross the blistering North African terrain, pitting their skills against ruthless enemies bent on world destruction. So as usual, the three of them managed to take on an entire army and win. But yeah, if you just like a good romp, you know, a bit of silliness, I recommend that one. Now next up, for all you Disney fans, this is one of my favourite Disney films, Wall-E. And front cover of this one, you've obviously got Wall-E, and that's Eve, I think. As most of you know, obviously the story of Wall-E is that he's one of the last robots left, or he is the last robot left on Earth, when it's a big rubbish tip, and he just goes about his day-to-day business, cleaning up the rubbish. But when the other character, Eve, arrives, his life's transformed completely, and he falls in love. So, follows the adventure of the robot. I just think it's one of the most cleverest and sort of loveliest Disney films that they've done. And this particular one has two sections. So it's got a bonus disc this side, which has all the background details, how they made it. And on this side, it's got extra features as well, main story, that sort of thing. So I shall read the back again. The highly acclaimed director of Finding Nemo and the creative storytellers behind Cars and Ratatouille transport you to a galaxy not so far away for a new cosmic comedy adventure about a determined robot named Wall-E. After hundreds of lonely years of doing what he was built for, the curious and lovable Wall-E discovers a new purpose in life when he he meets a sleek search robot named Eve. Join them and a hilarious cast of characters on a fantastic journey across the universe. Transport yourself to a fascinating new world with Disney Pixar's latest adventure, now even more astonishing on DVD, loaded with bonus features, including the new animated short film Bernie. Wally is a film your family will want to enjoy over and over again. And that's certainly true. Doesn't matter how many times you see it. You sort of always happy, mate. Always makes you happy. Okay. On to the next one. Now this is a DVD of a British comedy series called Mrs. Brown's Boys. Essentially it's about Mrs. Brown and her children and various relatives and the silly adventures he gets up to. This is a chap they call Brendan O'Carroll, well, man dressed as a woman essentially, but he just comes up with lots of ludicrous storylines that the pensioner has to sort of face day-to-day life and all the silly storylines surrounding her family. This is series 1. As you can see, there's Mrs. Brown there. It's a little bit sort of tongue-in-cheek especially and a bit rude, but I like that kind of comedy and just a bit slapstick as well. So it's sort of going back to the old days of people falling over and that sort of thing and walking into doors, as well as sort of the clever innuendos it does as well. If nobody's ever seen it, I would definitely recommend having a look at YouTube at Mrs. Brown. Just type in Mrs. Brown's Boys and watch some of the clips to it, because I can guarantee you'll be laughing. You know, there's some definite laugh out loud moments with this one. Okay, I'll read the back bit. Join the mother of all comedy, Agnes Brown, as she indulges in her favourite pastime, meddling in the lives of her 6 children. Whether she's tackling love, life, death, or dealing with the in-laws, Mrs. Brown is the domineering but lovable mother hen that you wouldn't mess with. Prepare for a riot of bad behaviour. It's a little bit rude, a little bit crude, and hysterical fun for everyone. Packed with over an hour of unseen extras, so I definitely recommend that for anyone who hasn't seen it before. Okay, next one is the Pirates of the Caribbean Savvy. Now I think most of you have seen the Pirates of the Caribbean, so you know all about the storyline, and I think we're on the 4th film now, and there may even be some more in the future, but this is the very first one. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Of course you've got Johnny Depp, Jeffrey Rush, Orlando Bloom, and Keira Knightley. Though of course there are some other characters that appear in the later films. Essentially these are the main 4 characters of the first, first 3 films, because Barbossa isn't in it a lot in the 2nd film. He's only in it at the end, I think, and then he appears in the 3rd film again. Okay, so I'll read a little bit at the back again. From producer Jerry Bruckheimer, Pearl Harbor, and director Gore Verbinski, The Ring comes the thrilling icy adventure Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. The roguish yet charming Captain Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp. Idyllic pirate life capsizes after his nemesis, the wily Captain Barbossa, Jeffrey Rush, steals his ship, the Black Pearl, and later attacks the town of Port Royal, kidnapping the governor's beautiful daughter Elizabeth, Keira Knightley. In a gallant attempt to rescue her and rescue the Black Pearl, Elizabeth's childhood friend Will Turner, Orlando Bloom, joins forces with Jack. What Will doesn't know is that a cursed treasure has doomed Barbossa and his crew to live forever as the undead. suspense-filled action, sword-clashing action, mystery, humour, unforgettable characters, and never-before-seen special effects make Pirates a must-have movie on the grandest scale ever. And of course, who doesn't love Johnny Depp in the role of Captain Jack Sparrow? You know, the slightly oddball pirate captain and all the silly scrapes he gets into. Okay, next one, more recent one. Probably actually one of the most recent ones I've got. The Hobbit series. I've actually got Lord of the Rings as well, but I just thought I'd get the Hobbit out because it's kind of a similar storyline. Now this is the Hobbit, the Desolation of Smaug, I think it's pronounced. The Hobbit, the Desolation of Smaug. And there's the main character there. Bilbo Baggins. Now, I'm a big fan. It's probably one of my favourite movie series, the Lord of the Rings. And of course, they've done The Hobbit now as well. And of course, I had to get all three of them. And one day I shall sit down and watch all three back to back, and then probably all the Lord of the Rings. So, if one day somebody can't get hold of me, then I'm watching the entire series of the whole lot. Now this is Martin Freeman in the title role. Some of you may also know him from Sherlock, the TV series. Also we've got Gandalf there, Ian McKellen, and also various other British actors appear in this, and I think Orlando Bloom's in it as well, so again another one. I'm not a particular fan of his as such, but he just appears in a lot of the films I like. Okay, I just read a little bit on the back there. The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, the Wizard Gandalf, and 13 dwarves, led by Thorin Oakenshield, continue their journey to reclaim the dwarf kingdom of Erebor. Along the way, they encounter the Skin Changer, Bjorn, giant spiders of Mirkwood, wood elves led by Legolas, Turiel, and King Thranduil, and a mysterious man named Bard, who smuggles them into Lake Town. Finally, reaching the Lonely Mountain, they face their greatest danger, the dragon Smaug. And also another reason to like it is because it was all filmed in New Zealand, and some of the back settings are absolutely beautiful. I want to go to New Zealand one day just to go and see some of the places they filmed it. Okay, we're nearing the end now. So a couple more to show you. This one, again, I've had these for quite a long time. Harry Potter with Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson as the main three characters. Now this one is the 7th, even though there are actually only 7 books, this is the 7th film. There are 8 films because this Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows was made into a 2-parter for the final instalment. So essentially this just sees Harry basically beginning the battle for the end against Voldemort, and this is sort of how Harry goes about finding the Horcruxes, which are part of Voldemort's soul, and destroying them so Voldemort will weaken in power. So this is the first part of a 2-part there, but obviously everybody knows pretty much who Harry Potter is and the story of Harry Potter. Again with this one, it's in a wood sleeve there. So there's the inside of it. You can see on the back there Scottish actor. Okay, I'll read the back bit here. So it says Year 7, Part 1. So this is his 7th and final year at Hogwarts. Harry, Ron and Hermione set out to track down and destroy the secret to Voldemort's power, the Horcruxes. On their own and on the run, the three friends must now rely on one another more than ever, but dark forces threaten to tear them apart. Obviously, if you haven't seen any of the Harry Potter films, then you must have been living in a cupboard for the last, 10 years, but I think, apart from the first one, this is probably my favourite, the last two, because obviously they're grown up now and it sort of concludes the storyline. Okay, now in my opinion, I think I've saved the best till last, but that's just my personal opinion. Here it is, and some of you may not be surprised by this one. Paddington Bear, the movie. Now, as a lot of you know, I'm a bit of a mad Paddington fan, or some of you have seen my videos, or seen my Facebook profile, then I think you probably know by now. So it's obviously had to end with this one. Essentially, we've got some reasonably well-known characters in this one. You've got Nicole Kidman, Hugh Bonneville from Downton Abbey, Julie Walters, she's been in loads of things, Mamma Mia, for example, there's other bits. Basically, that's the main character there. That's Paddington. And you've also got Jim Broadbent, he's been in quite a lot of things. And there you may recognise him. It's Peter Capaldi, better known currently to people as Doctor Who. Okay, this one has a cardboard sleeve there. You can see Paddington Bear on the front there with the marmalade sandwich. And wearing his hat, that actually belonged to his uncle, and you get to learn that in the beginning of the film. Though in the book, the series by Michael Bond, you never actually learn about his uncle, only his great aunt Lucy, but it kind of nicely introduces you to Paddington, this film. So I should just read the blurb on the back. Adapted from Michael Bond's beloved books, Paddington is the magical adventure of a polite young Peruvian bear who travels to London in search of a home, finding himself lost and alone at Paddington Station. It seems that city life is not all he imagined, until he meets the Brown family, who kindly offer him a place to stay. But little do the Browns realise just how much chaos one small bear can cause, and they soon discover that their lives will never be the same again. So yeah, I think this is just a lovely sort of family film, or whatever, or if you're a massive fan of Paddington like me, then obviously, yeah. So that's one I'd recommend for anybody, you know, whatever age you are. Paddington Bear there. I think it came out at the end of 2014, and the DVD came out last year, so I'd certainly recommend this one. Out of all of them, this is probably my favourite film of recent years. Yeah, so there you are. That was some of my DVDs, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing seeing some of them and me reading about them. Okay, guys.